What is now we will see the classification of measuring instruments. The instruments are classified into several categories like mechanical instruments, electrical instruments, electronic instruments, deflection and null type instruments, analog and digital type instruments, self-generating instruments, automatically and manually instruments, contacting and non-contacting instruments, remote indicating instruments, and intelligent instruments. So what are mechanical instruments? These are simple in construction and design, and they are stable and static conditions, and they are reliable. Especially they do not require any external power source. And the second one is electrical instruments. So what are electrical instruments? The output indicated by these instruments are quick in comparison to the mechanical instruments. But even in electrical instruments, mechanical devices are used to indicate the records. And the third one is electronic instruments. So these instruments respond quickly to dynamic and transient conditions, and especially they are light in weight, very compact, consume less power, and are highly reliable and costless. So the main advantage this one is these are non-contact measurement instruments also. Means these instruments also fall under this category, non-contacting instruments. The fourth one is deflection and null type instruments. So what is this deflection and null type instruments? Suppose consider a spring balance. If you attach an unknown weight to the one end of the spring, what will happen? The spring will deflect. That deflection of the spring is the measurement of the weight. So this is how deflection type instruments will work. And coming to null type instruments, what are null type instruments? So take an example of beam balance. If you have at the end of the two beams, one was known weight and another was unknown weight. So if the unknown weight was equal to the known weight, the pointer at the center of the beam should show along the scale 0 reading. So these are called as null type instruments. We can take it as an example of Wheatstone bridge also. If all the resistance and all the limbs are equal, the galvanometer reading should show 0. So these are called as null type instruments. Next one, analog and digital type. What are analog type instruments? A signal is said to be analog, like voltage, voltmeter, pressure gauge, speedometer, galvanometer, ammeter, like this. Actually we can say the output signal may be analog or digital type also. So what are digital type instruments? A signal is said to be digital, means the output is in the form of digital format. Next one, self-generating and power operated instruments. So what are self-generating instruments? They do not require any external power source. So like mercury in glass thermometer, Bourdon tube pressure indicator, and dial indicator, etc. Next one is power operated instruments. What are power operated instruments? So they require external power source like compressed air, electricity, hydraulic, and some external power source to calculate the displacement in LVDT. Like this will come under the power operated instrument. So automatical and manual instruments. So first we will see manual. What are manual instruments, sir? They require the service of a human operator to operate the instrument. Those are called as manual instruments. So what is automatic instrument? So those does not depends on the operator's service. Those are called as the automatic instruments, like mercury thermometer, and automated null balance instruments like Wheatstone bridge circuit, etc. Next one, contacting and non-contacting. What are contacting instruments? The best example is mercury and glass thermometer, Bourdon tube pressure gauge, and thermocouple to measure the temperature. By contacting only it can measure the temperature, and a voltmeter placed in electric circuit, like this. So for the non-contacting type instruments, the best example is pyrometers. So to measure the temperature, we are going to use the optical parameter, radiation parameter. So they were not in contact. By simply absorbing the radiation and light intensity, they are going to measure the temperature. So remote indicating measuring instruments. What are these remote indicating measurement instruments are? The primary sensing will be at one place and secondary sensing element will be at different places. So for example, if you see at the boilers, one cannot stand and control the pressure and temperature. Mainly we will use the sensors there. So there will be primary sensing element at that position, and using the data transmission element you will get the output at some place. So these will come under the remote indicating measuring instruments. And next one is intelligent instruments. So the best example is microprocessor. So in the intelligent systems, microprocessor will be there. So what is microprocessor? It was a pre-programmed signal processing equipment. So already all the algorithms and programs are incorporated in this one. So according to the act of situation, it will measure by as it was pre-programmed. These are called as intelligent instruments. The next topic is characteristics with respect to instrumentation. So we have three types of characteristics. Those are static, dynamic and some other. So what are some other is, some characteristics are both static and dynamic. If you see, these are the static characteristics: range, span, drift, calibration, hysteresis, dead zone, sensitivity, threshold value, resolution, backlash. And these are dynamic: speed of response, measuring lag, fidelity, dead time, overshoot, frequency response, and some other characteristics like accuracy, precision, reproducibility and repeatability. Now we will see the static characteristics. So what are static characteristics? So these are defined for the instrument which measure the quantities which do not vary with time. So the quantities which does not vary with the time are called as static characteristics, are static terms. So in this, the first one is range. So what is range? The region between which the instrument is to operate is called range. Suppose for example, if you take a thermometer, the range of thermometer is 0 degrees to 100 degrees centigrade. So the range is lower calibration value to higher calibration value, means 0 to 100. And the second one is span. So it is the algebraic difference between higher calibration value to lower calibration value. Take the same example. So what is the range of thermometer? 0 degrees centigrade to 100 degrees centigrade. So span is higher calibration value minus lower calibration value, that is 100 degrees centigrade minus 0 degrees centigrade. So many of them assume range as span as 1, but there was a little difference. So range only gives the region between which the instrument will operate, and span is the algebraic difference between the higher calibration value and lower calibration value. Next one is the drift. So what is drift? If the instrument does not produce the same reading at different times of measurement for the same input signal, is said to have drift. Suppose if the instrument was operating for the same input signal at every time, but if it does not giving the same reading, then we can say the instrument was having the drift. So the next one is calibration. So what is calibration? To know the instrument whether it was giving the accurate readings, so one should calibrate the instruments. So we will see the definition. If the system's output deviates with respect to given known input, corrections are made in the instrument so that output matches with the input. This process is called calibration. So what is calibration is, by using some standard devices, we will check the performance of the instrument. If the instrument output is deviating from the standard values, so then we will calculate the correction factor. So after that, for finding any unknown parameters, we will include that correction factor, then you will take the readings. So this is called as calibration. So the next one is hysteresis. So it can be easily explained by this figure. So what is this figure showing? The loading and unloading curves does not coincide, means all the energy put into stressor component when loaded is not recovered upon the unloading. This is called as hysteresis. Next one is dead zone. What is dead zone? It is the largest change in the physical variable to which the instrument does not respond. Means at some point of time how much input we have to give. Suppose if you are continuously giving the input also, sometimes the instrument won't respond, but at some point of time which will shows to respond. That particular point of time, that particular time up to which the instrument was not responding is called as dead zone. Next one is sensitivity. So it is the ratio of change in the output signal to the change in input signal. Means for the smallest change in the measured variable to which the instrument responds is called as sensitivity. Next one is threshold value. The minimum value of input signal that is required to make a change or state from 0 is called as threshold value. Means the amount of value that was getting the change in the output value, that is called as the threshold value. Next one is resolution. The minimum value of the input signal required to cause an appreciable change or incremental in the output is called as resolution. Means already you have seen in the dead zone. So what is dead zone? The time at which the instrument was not responding is called dead zone. So at the point of time the instrument was responding, that minimum input value, what is the minimum input value, is called as resolution. Next one is backlash. It is the maximum distance through which one part of the instrument moved without disturbing the other part. Now we will see the dynamic characteristics. So if the measured quantities are varying rapidly with the time, these are called as dynamic characteristics. In that, the first one is speed of response. The speed of response is defined as the quickness with which an instrument responds to a change in the input signal. So for the small amount of change in the input signal also, if the instrument was responding, that one is called as speed of response. Next one is measuring lag. It is the delay in the response of an instrument to a change in the input signal. So it was opposite to speed of response. So for the small change in input signal also, if the instrument was not responding, it is called as measuring lag. Next one is fidelity. It is the ability of a measurement system to reproduce the output in the same form as the input. Means if the input is some sine curve, so the output also should produce 100% sine curve. So this is called as fidelity. Next one is dead time. The time taken by an instrument to begin its response for a change in the measured quantity is called as dead time. Actually the dead zone and dead time are similar. So for the instrument, the time taken by the instrument to get the maximum change in the output is called as the dead time. Next one, overshoot. The maximum amount by which the moving parts moves beyond the steady state is called as overshoot. Like see here, suppose pointer moving along the calibrated scale beyond the steady state. So that is called as overshoot. Next one, frequency of response. It is defined as the maximum frequency of the measured variable that instrument is capable of following without error. So without the error, if the instrument are giving the maximum frequency of measured variable, it is called as frequency of response. Next we will see accuracy and precision. So what is accuracy? The closeness of measured value with respect to the true value is called as accuracy. And precision. If a number of measurements are made on the same true value, the degree of closeness of these measurements is called as precision. Actually so many will think accuracy and precision as same, but there was a thin line between accuracy and precision. This can be easily explained by this example. Now see here, suppose see the true value, consider the true value as 10 mm. Suppose you are measuring with the instrument X. So it was producing the readings 9.91, 9.92, 91, 94, 93, 91 and loads of this. So see here, these readings are very close to the true value. So then you can say that the instrument was accurate. And at the same time see here, all these readings are very close. Irrespective of true value, these readings are very close. See here 9.91, 9.92, 9194. So there was no major difference. Then we can say that the instrument is precise also. So for the so continuously if the instrument was giving same type of values, then it is called precise. If that value was close to the true value, then it is called as accurate. So see, suppose see the instrument Y. So these are giving C values 9.11, 12, 13, 15, 12. But these are not close to the true value 10 mm. So then what we can say, the instrument was less accurate. But see here, all the values are very close to one another. Then we can say that the instruments are highly precision. Next one, see the instrument Z, how it was produced, 9.3, 9.2, 9.7, 9.6, 9.55. These values are not close to one another, and these are not close to the true value also. So what we can say, this instrument was not accurate, and at the same time this instrument was not precise. So this is accuracy and precision. Next one is reproducibility. So what is reproducibility? It is the degree of closeness between measurements of the same quantity where the individual measurements are made under different locations. So for the same input quantity, if you are making the measurement at different locations or with different measuring instruments by different operators at different conditions, if the instrument was able to give the same readings closeness to the true value, and it is called as reproducibility. Next one is repeatability. It is the closeness between the successive measurements of the same quantity with the same instrument by the same operator over a short span of time. So if for the same input quantity, if the same operator was operating the same instrument within the some short span of time difference, if the instrument was giving the same reading, then it is called as repeatability. Okay everyone, now we will see the different types of errors occur during the process of measurement. So first, what is error? It is the difference between the measured value and the true value of a physical quantity is called as error. So error may be positive if the instrument reads higher than the true value, and error may be negative if the instrument reads lower than the true value. And we have three types of errors mainly. Those are systematic errors or fixed errors, random or accidental errors, and illegitimate errors. So coming to systematic or fixed errors, we have five types: calibration, human, loading, errors of technique, and experimental errors. So what are calibration errors? Any instrument has to be calibrated before it is put to use. So if the instrument was not calibrated properly, it will show reading with a higher degree of error. This is called as calibration error. So human errors. So these are called as observational errors or operational errors. So the operator should operate the instrument correctly, and he should take the readings without any parallel axis error. So if it is not possible, then we won't get the output correctly. So these are called as human errors. So loading errors. So loading errors is best example is if due to the voltage fluctuations, sometimes the system won't work properly according to its capacity. So we won't get the output correctly. So these errors are called as loading errors. And errors of technique. So errors of technique means one should follow the procedure correctly. So if you didn't follow that procedure, we won't get the output correctly. So these errors are called as errors of technique. And experimental errors. What are experimental errors are? So the components of an instrument may be assembled incorrectly, and due to this an error may occur. So this error does not vary with time and can be corrected. And also sometimes any improper material may be selected for the instrument, causing it wear quickly or creating friction, thus introducing an error. This is called as experimental errors. Next one is random or accidental errors. So what are random or accidental errors are due to backlash, friction, and high dimensional tolerance. These errors are called as random or accidental errors. So what is backlash? So without any disturbance, we have to move the instrument from one place to another place. So if it was not happened, it is called as backlash. So the errors due to backlash are called as random or accidental errors. So in this we have two types: error of judgment and variation of condition. So error of judgment. These errors are made while making judgment of the results of an instrument. So they are different in comparison with human errors in terms that they are vary both in magnitude and sign. Next one, variation of conditions. So what is this variation of condition is, suppose take a mercury in glass thermometer is located at a place where the air pressure is high. The air pressure acts on the walls of the thermometer, causing the mercury level to rise even without a change in temperature. So due to the climatic conditions also, our output will depends. So one should make sure that the measurement process where we are doing it should not affect by the climatic conditions. So the error caused by the climatic condition environment is called as variation. Next one, illegitimate errors. So what are illegitimate errors are? The errors due to blunders on the part of the person using the instrument is called as illegitimate errors, like faulty instrument, faulty adjustment, improper use of instrument, and so on. So in this we have three types: blunder, computational, and chaotic. So what is blunder errors are? Sometimes the operator operating the instrument might commit a blunder in using the instrument or adopting the right producer. So errors due to these acts is called as blunder or mistake. Next one, computational errors. Many times the results of a measurement are to be computed. So computed means it should be calculated. So the human being perform the calculation might commit a mistake which leads to this error. And next one is chaotic errors. Errors induced by random disturbances such as vibrations, noises, shocks, etc. of sufficient magnitude tend to affect the test information. Such errors are called as chaotic errors. Okay friends, this is about the concept of measurement. So we have seen what is the process of measurement and what is the different types of characteristics related to measurement and what are the applications of instruments and what are the different types of measurement methods and so on. In the coming classes, we are going to see several types of measuring instruments. Thank you.